We have the rocket leaders that have been shaken up in Pokemon Go, so obviously the event is already quite well into completion here, but these rocket leaders and the rocket grunts are going to stay the same for a little while, definitely a little while. So we're going to break down the top rocket Pokemon to go after, to focus on, and to see which grunts and leaders are going to be the most important for you in Pokemon Go. So you know what time it is. Welcome to the Training Club. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. How are you guys doing on your rocket leaders, on your rocket grunts? Do you know what's going on? Do you not? Because today we're breaking down all of the rocket Pokemon. I want to make sure you guys know everything about the Team Rocket grunts and leaders throughout this entire event. So let's get after it, starting off with the grunts. Battle against my flying type Pokemon can be the brand new Natu, and unfortunately I thought Natu was going to be a 1000 per Purify Pokemon. Unfortunately, it is a 3000 per Purify Pokemon, but we do have Diglett, and we also have the Starly in here, and Starly and Diglett are 1000 per Purify. So this specific one is more or less just to get 1000 per Purify, or what I would consider cheap purification Pokemon if you are working towards the Platinum Purification Badge, or if you need to purify things for the future. I always have some stocked up. And the next is Don't Tangle With Us, which can be either Cacnea or Chikorita. I do love the Shadow Chikorita. Cacnea, unfortunately, is irrelevant, but Chikorita is definitely powerful as a Shadow Pokemon. In the Great League, it's going to be ranked 87, and in the Ultra League, it's going to be ranked 36. However, this Pokemon will need Frenzy Plant, so not only will you have to TM away Frustration on this Pokemon, you will also have to Elite TM it or hold onto it. At some point, it will potentially have a Calm Day Classic. And next, wherever there is light or there will be shadows, will be either an Alolan Rattata or a Purrloin. Both of these not really super relevant for us, but we do have 1000 per Purifies in here, another cheap one. And then next, we have Let's Rock and Roll. And guys, just remember, when you see this graphic, it can always give you the second two, but I'm not really going to cover it because those are much rarer to encounter. The main one that you're going to be getting here is Onix, or you can also get the Sudowoodo. I do not like fighting against Shadow Sudowoodo. It's not too good of a Pokemon, but as a Shadow, fighting against it is very strong. However, the Onix is going to be ranked 50 in the Great League, or remember I told you guys it was going to be pretty good, is ranked 6 in the Ultra League in XL Candy. So you're going to need XL Candy, but man, I told you that Dragon Tail is going to do some damage as a Shadow Pokemon, and it has proven so. And then next, are you scared of Psychics with Unseen Powers? We do have the Natu, and I'm just going to recommend that you guys go after this with Darkrai or some type of dark Pokemon. Even Hydreigon does work because the Girafarig is going to be resistant to the ghost Pokemon. So just get after it, get around there. Nothing too good here. Normal does not mean weak, is going to be either a Wishmer, a Patrat, or a Rattata, and these Pokemon, 1000 per Purify is good for that. Coiled and Ready to Strike can be either a Fungus, a Nidoran, or a Zubat. Zubat, cheap to be able to go after. Nidoran is the male form, which the better one of the two is going to be the female form, and then we have the Fungus, and Fungus, remember, is a increased Stardust catch Pokemon, so for this one is going to be pretty easy there. You're going to be frozen in your tracks, is going to be very easy to beat this one for the most part, because usually you could just run a Reshiram and it's going to destroy all this, or you could run a fighting type Pokemon, but it's going to be a Alolan version of Sandshrew, which is going to be relevant. In the Great League, it's going to be ranked 45, and in the Ultra League, it's going to be ranked 89, and also we can have the Shadow Swinub, which Shadow Mamoswine is a meta attacker, more or less. It is very glassy, so do be careful powering it up, but you do have that. You'll be defeated into the ground. It's going to be either an Alolan Diglett or a Hippopotas. Nothing too good to write home about here. And then we have my Superbug, which is going to be either a Weedle or a Shuckle. The Weedle is going to be 1000 per Purify. And then we have the Ki, which is going to be the ghost type Pokemon, which is going to be a Golett encounter. Golett goes into Golurk. Just a cool Pokemon. A Pokemon that I really like. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do anything too crazy. And then Get Ready to Be Shocked could be either a Shinx or a Mareep. Unfortunately for this Pokemon, neither of them are going to be too good. Mareep, pretty cool looking Pokemon, but the one thing about Mareep is that it does go into Ampharos, and if you do get a really good IV one, I probably wouldn't purify it, although it's not really the best Pokemon as far as an electric attacker, but it does go into Mega Ampharos, which honestly is probably a pretty good option for where this Pokemon sits in general. Do you know how hot a Pokemon's breath can get? Can be either a Cyndaquil or it can be a Numel. Numel does go into Camerupt in a shadow form, and since the regular one is irrelevant, if you do get a high IV, almost 100, that could be 100, because just remember, anything 13, 13, 13 and up will purify into a 100% IV if it has all of the categories synonymous. So you can purify that one, because honestly the Shadow Camerupt is nothing too great. This buff physique is ready for show, is going to be the Shadow version of the Makuhita, which goes into the Hariyama, and Hariyama is going to be a pretty good Shadow fighting type attacker, so you can use that Pokemon. It's also a budget type attacker, even though their leaders using the Machop is going to be better, or it could be Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee. Check out my cute Pokemon, can be a Snubble or a Roll. Ralts, and the Ralts, as Shadow Gardevoir, is a very strong fairy type attacker. These water are treacherous, can be either a Totodile or a Whelmer, Whelmer being the new Pokemon. Unfortunately, nothing is too crazy here. However, the Roar, how did that sound, is going to be a Shadow Dratini. Shadow Dratini going into Dragonite is one of my favorite Shadow Dragon attackers because it does not need an Elite TM to have Outrage, which is the strongest. And in the Great League, it's ranked 33. In the Ultra League, it's ranked 24. And in the Master League, it's ranked 16. So this Pokemon is a Swiss Army knife of GBL and meta attackers. And then Don't Bother, I've already won, is going to be a Snorlax encounter. It is one of the more challenging tasks to go after because the Pokemon in here are pretty insanely strong. It can give you a double Snorlax, it can throw a Gyarados in here, it can throw a Gardevoir in here, it can throw Poliwrath in here, it can throw Dragonite in here. So honestly, you're probably going to have to use 3 pretty strong Pokemon and see what's going through. Using a Lucario up front with Power Up Punch is pretty good to start gaining traction here, or a Machamp, but the fortunate thing about the Shadow Machamp is it's a little glassy for this. So I always go in with the Lucario and just spam Power Up Punches and gain its traction on the counter, and then I will have to sometimes back out if the counters are not lined up properly. But a Metagross in there is going to be pretty good because it's going to multi-function, and also using another Pokemon such as the Melmetal is always great in there as well. Well resisted, and it can come through and hit pretty hard. And just remember, Snorlax in the Great League is ranked 60, in the Ultra League it's ranked 72, and in the Master League it's ranked 29, and you can multi-function this as a gym defender. And then these waters are treacherous can also be the Magikarp. And then on to the leaders. We have Sierra, that does have the brand new shiny Shadow Sableye. So cool looking Pokemon. It does get a future Mega, but as far as its Shadow goes, it is outranked by the regular form, so it is a purifiable Pokemon at rank 30 compared to the 56 in the Shadow. And since you can get it at a 3, 14, 15, level 48 for the 100% IV, you could even purify this Pokemon because Return is going to be the recommended moveset, and it will be the best version and cheaper version to be able to power it up as a hack here. So running through this Pokemon, you could use any type of Gardevoir, you could use a fairy type Pokemon, but almost every time I run with a Lucario in spot number 1 with Power Up Punch. You could even run with Lucario in spot number 2 and switch right into it to catch that Pokemon with a stun, so it does not get the ability to start attacking you, and then you can start spamming the Power Up Punch to be able to gain traction here. This is going to help you defeat this Pokemon, waste shields really fast. And then on to the next one. Usually it's going to be Honchkrow, which can be defeated by Electric and Ice type Pokemon, which is going to be pretty easy here. Or if we do have the Gardevoir coming here, using a Metagross will be good. If we have Flygon coming in here, an Ice type Pokemon will be good. So an Ice type in spot number 2 would definitely help out and be easy for you. However, in spot number 3, we are looking usually at Houndoom. Houndoom gets destroyed by Kyogre, so using a Kyogre with Surf and Blizzard is going to really handle things here. In spot number 2, we do have Arlo with Mawile, and Shiny Shadow Mawile has already been a thing for us, so I'm just going to let you guys know that I would probably skip over this unless you really want this Shiny Shadow Mawile, which you can go after. Honestly, for this one, you can use something like a Swampert with Hydro Cannon, or even Mud Shot and Hydro Cannon to be able to spam away the shields and do damage on this Pokemon. In spot number 2, we have 3 flying type variations, which is going to be great for an electric type attacker, or a rock type moveset, which Melmetal does really suffice in here because it is also going to be a steel type, which will resist a lot of these movesets. And then finally in the next one, usually you're going to get that Scissor, and the Scissor is double weak to fire, so going after any type of fire type Pokemon, I usually use the Reshiram, and it cleans that Pokemon up so fast you don't even need to have a special go down on it. And then finally we have McCliff with Machop. I usually have been running through Mewtwo with Psycho Cut, also with Psystrike, and then the third move is going to be the Thunderbolt, and it's run through this team very easily because it charges moves fast. It is going to be effective against fighting type attackers. The Psystrike is going to affect against the Amoonguss, which is what I've been seeing that it has. And then next I switch into a Kyogre to be able to handle the Tyranitar as well as the Aerodactyl. And then finally we have Giovanni. So Giovanni, the way I handle it, because number 1, it is going to have Persian, so this Pokemon is very strong. However, what I do is I put my first Pokemon in spot number 1, then I put Lucario in spot number 2. I'll come through and I'll switch immediately so I can get that delay, and then I can start gaining energy on my Power Up Punch so the Persian does not take me out because it's a very, very strong Pokemon for Giovanni. So I go ahead and I turn through that. And then next we have Rhyperior, Steelix, or Nidoqueen. A Kyogre is easily able to handle all of these Pokemon because of its water type combination with Surf. So Waterfall and Surf combination. And then finally we do have Mewtwo. Using something like a Darkrai is a very easy way to take down Mewtwo here because it's going to be effective here. It's going to resist all of these psychic movesets, and that's what I'm going to recommend it for you guys. So that is going to be my recommendation. And just remember, if you have the Rocket Radar saved up, catching multiple Mewtwo might be in your best interest. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. To all my likers, comments, subscribers, Patreon members, everybody takes their support, subscription, participation, 2x. I'll see you guys out next video. Peace. I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and raiding all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.